Speak Up English, the key to success.
Hey, Sarah. You know, thinking about teachers and students always brings back memories of school days. Who was your most memorable teacher?
Oh, that's an easy one, Alex. Mr. Johnson, my high school English teacher. He made Shakespeare sound like a rock concert.
Huh, a Shakespearean rock star. That's something. My favorite was Mrs. Adams, my science teacher. She made experiments feel like magic tricks.
Magic tricks in science class. Now that's intriguing, Alex. Did she ever blow things up?
Not intentionally, but we did have some fiery moments. Speaking of which, did you have any funny classroom incidents?
Oh, plenty. Once, a bird flew into our classroom during a biology lesson. It was like a guest speaker on Avian Anatomy 101.
That bird deserves an honorary degree. You know, teachers often have their own secret code in class. Did Mr. Johnson have any funny catchphrases?
Absolutely. Whenever someone used a big word unnecessarily, he'd say, "You don't need a thesaurus, you need clarity." It was like a language reality check.
Mr. Johnson sounds like a no-nonsense teacher. Did he give you any advice that stuck with you?
He said, "Read, even when you don't have to, because someday, you'll have to when you don't want to." Tea was like literary fortune-telling.
Wise words, Sarah. Teachers often drop these nuggets of wisdom. So, what subject did you excel in back in school?
English, without a doubt. I could analyze a poem like it was a crime scene. How about you, Alex?
Was a math whiz. Numbers were my playground. But you know what they say, opposites attract. I always admired the creativity in English class.
Math and poetry, we're like yin and yang. So, did you ever pull off any legendary pranks on teachers?
Well, once we filled the staff room with balloons. It was like a colorful invasion. But no harm done, we cleaned it all up.
Balloon diplomacy. That sounds like a harmless prank. Did you ever have a teacher who was known for their sense of humor?
Oh, yes, Mr. Rodriguez, our history teacher. He turned facts into stand-up comedy. Learning history was like attending a comedy show.
A history comedy show. I wish I had been in that class. And speaking of history, who's a historical figure you'd love to have as a teacher?
That's a tough one. Maybe Albert Einstein. Learning about relativity from the man himself would be mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing, indeed. I'd pick Jane Austen. She could teach us about literature and wit at the same time.
Oh, a literary feast with Jane Austen. That would be quite an experience. Well, Sarah, whether it's Shakespeare, science, or balloons in the staff room, teachers make our school days unforgettable. Part 2. You're absolutely right, Sarah. Teachers play such a significant role in our lives, and they leave a lasting impression. Did you have a favorite subject back in school?
Definitely, Alex. I was all about literature and creative writing. Those classes felt like stepping into different worlds with each book.
That's wonderful, Sarah. Literature does have a magical way of transporting us. And it's interesting how teachers can ignite a passion for a particular subject. My history teacher, Mr. Rodriguez, did that for me.
It's amazing how teachers can be like the spark that lights up our interests. So, speaking of school, did you ever participate in any extracurricular activities?
I was in the chess club. It was like a battlefield of wits. And you?
I was part of the drama club. It was like stepping onto the stage and becoming someone entirely different for a while.
Chess and drama, two very different worlds. It's funny how school can introduce us to such diverse experiences. Did you have a favorite play or character you portrayed?
Oh, I loved playing Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. The drama and romance were like a roller coaster of emotions.
Juliet. That's quite a role, Sarah. Did you have a real-life Romeo?
Just a stage Romeo, Alex. But it was a fantastic experience. And speaking of fantastic, did you ever have a teacher who made you see a subject in a whole new light?
Absolutely, Sarah. Mrs. Davis, my physics teacher, turned complex equations into real-world applications. Suddenly, physics felt like a superhero's toolkit.
Wow, that's a gift, Alex. A teacher who can make science feel like magic. Did you ever have a memorable field trip during your school days?
Yes, we went to a planetarium. It was like a journey through the cosmos, and I couldn't get enough of it. How about you?
We visited a historic theater. It was like stepping into a time machine. The architecture and stories behind it were mesmerizing.
A theater with history, that's a fascinating field trip, Sarah. It's incredible how these experiences outside the classroom can be so educational.
Absolutely, Alex. They add depth to what we learn in books. Well, we've certainly covered a lot about teachers and school memories today.
We sure have, Sarah. It's been a trip down memory lane. Teachers and school experiences shape who we are today.
They do, Alex. And they remind us that learning is not just about facts, it's about the joy of discovery.
Well said, Sarah. So, to all the teachers who've guided us and the students discovering the world, here's to the endless journey of learning. Part 3. Sarah, our chat about teachers and school has been a blast, hasn't it? But before we wrap it up, I have to ask, did you ever have a teacher who gave out funny homework assignments?
Oh, absolutely, Alex. My math teacher once assigned us to calculate how many birthday candles would be needed for the entire class if everyone lived to be 100. It was like a mathematical mystery.
That's a unique way to teach math. It's like turning the classroom into a birthday party. And speaking of math, did you ever have a teacher who had a special way of making complex concepts easy to understand?
Yes, my chemistry teacher, Mr. Smith. He had a knack for breaking down chemical reactions using everyday examples. Balancing equations felt like solving puzzles.
Mr. Smith sounds like a chemistry magician. It's amazing how teachers can make the most challenging subjects feel like a breeze. So, what's one thing you've learned from your teachers that you still carry with you today?
From Mr. Johnson, my English teacher, I learned the power of words. He used to say, "Words are your magic wand, use them wisely." It's like having a superpower in your vocabulary.
That's a fantastic lesson, Sarah. Words are indeed powerful. And from Mrs. Adams, my science teacher, I learned that curiosity is the key to discovery. It's like having a compass for lifelong learning.
Curiosity as a compass, that's a beautiful way to put it, Alex. Teachers shape not just our knowledge but our character as well.
They do, Sarah. And thinking about all these remarkable teachers, it's clear that they leave a legacy that goes far beyond the classroom. Is there one teacher you'd like to express your gratitude to if you had the chance?
Definitely, Mr. Johnson. He sparked my love for literature and writing. His passion was contagious, and it's something I carry with me every day.
Mr. Johnson, the literary maestro. I'm sure he'd be delighted to hear that. Well, Sarah, our conversation on teachers and students has been enlightening.
T really has, Alex. Teachers are like the guiding stars in our educational journey. They leave a lasting impact on our lives.
They do, Sarah. And as we conclude our chat today, let's raise a virtual toast to all the teachers who've inspired us and continue to inspire countless students around the world.
Here, Alex. To the dedicated educators who light the path of knowledge. Thank you for joining us in this conversation about teachers and students.